Hello, West Michigan. This is Grand Tap Media, Breeding the Grand Show. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show is helping West Michigan become neighbors. And boy, do I have a very special neighbor for you to meet. I am so excited for her to be here today. We've been friends for a while, and you probably might have heard her either on the radio or on her TV show at Grand Valley. She does the morning show. Or you might have seen her at being an MC at an event. I've seen her at least twice already this year being in the MC. She's just absolutely amazing. So I want to welcome and for you to introduce you to your neighbor, Shelley Irwin from the morning show on Grand Valley campus. I'm so excited for you to be here.
I'm happy to be here. Can I just sing the song, Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Exactly.
Oh, I find that on PBS. Isn't that a small world?
It is a small world, being on PBS or WGVU. But you understand this about relationships, right? And that's why I had you on the show. It's because, well, first of all, you are instrumental in helping nonprofits. And then you do a wonderful job. You've had me on your show, which I'm so excited about.
I'll have you back, too.
And then you're out there. You have many causes. And you also might have seen her out there running. We're going to talk about that. I didn't even bring that up, right?
Yes.
I want to really kind of know what got you into. I know you made this huge career change that brought you into the broadcasting world. That you had this dream. So I want to share a little bit about Shelley Irwin and how you got into all of this, because I saw your little talk, and we're going to talk about that.
No.
And that's good. This is another thing I want to talk to her about too. But let's talk about you and who you are and what you do in our community and what your shows are all about.
Right. All right.
Welcome to my show.
Thank you. And it's kind of hard to be on this side of the table.
I love it, though.
So I'll try to practice what I preach as far as media training and all that. Well, first of all, thank you.
And then what I want to mention, we tap right in our show. We kind of tap in like we're neighbors. If I were to meet you, and I just saw you outside, and I went, because that's what it is, a neighborhood,
cheers,
right?
Baby. Yeah.
Cheers.
Okay.
And I'm like, who are you? And you're on what? If I didn't know who you were, which is probably pretty surprising, but you'd be surprised on some people that haven't been introduced to some of your what you have out there. But I would say, what do you do and where are you at? And, why do you do what you do?
Well, I'll do the cliff notes. I always like to if I was to be your keynote speaker, I would say in elementary school I wanted to be on the Partridge Family. In junior high, I wanted to be.
I love the Partridge Family. I love that when you said that. Keith, oh my gosh,
met Shirley Jones. Yes, Jeremy, one of the little guys was my favorite. Danny Bonaducci was kind of cool too. But
he was cool. He was so smart, right?
We could spend all day talking about that. Don't even get me started with the Brady Bunch. I've had Peter in the studio. Talk about that heartthrob. Oh,
and you did invite me?
Well,
everybody wanted to be the Brady Bunch, right? Could my parents get divorced and remarry somebody else?
No, let's not go there. Okay, so my shtick was in elementary school I wanted to be on the Partridge Family. In junior high I wanted to be on Broadway. In high school I wanted to be be on TV. And today I proudly hold a Master of Science degree in physical therapy.
Wow!
And I'm introduced as a host and producer of the WGVU Morning Show, so there's been a career change. Again, taking you back to, yes, I have always wanted to be a journalist, a talk show host in the media somehow. And did a lot of theater as a kid, did the plays for the parents, but also was involved in health, like science and math, and had parents in the medical profession, was exposed to the therapies growing up.
Right.
And my track just took me to a recreational therapy undergrad, a PT graduate school, and then practiced physical therapy for 15 years.
Very practical job. That's pretty good.
Very practical. You get a job, make a good living, you help people.
Exactly.
Kept me going. Lots of things in between. Worked down south in Savannah, Georgia, Raleigh, Durham. Did some theater, so I got some, the bright lights.
Yeah.
Had a best friend who was a news anchor, so I'm starting to kind of touch those. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do that.
Is that what you thought when you went into that? You thought, what, I could do that.
Oh yeah.
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 I mean, besides the fantasy of wanting to do it, there's a difference.
Yeah, there's still a. Yes, there is a fantasy.
There is a fantasy.
But I cut through some of that fantasy because at 38, I had landed back in Michigan, the other side of the state.
Okay.
Boyfriend broke up with me. There we go. That's what happens. Yeah. And had a nice PT job, 3 dogs, picket fence. What's next? And I thought, why don't I go back to that dream of maybe taking a class in radio and TV, just a class, maybe that was 20 some years ago. So even online was kind of a,
Yeah, really.
foreign.
I know.
Bottom line, I did my homework. I found Specs Howard School of Broadcast Arts. I did some soul searching, spent hours at the bookstore researching who do I want to be, 10 years from now. And I enrolled, went part-time physical therapy, interned at one of the big ABC radio stations, paid my dues for 2.5 years, and landed WGVU in 2001.
Oh my gosh.
17 years ago.
And how did you just look for that online? Well, online as we call it. Well, how did that position come up?
Specs Howard,
Yeah,
or the WGVU.
WGVU, right over here.
Well, and it's something that I would recommend. Get to know your professors. And Specs Howard, we did have vice presidents. It was obviously an accredited school.
Okay.
So I went back to Dick Kernan, the vice president of Specs Howard, and said, I've done my duty at WJR. There wasn't a space for me there permanently.
Right.
I'll go where there's an open job. 2 weeks later, this WGVU in Grand Rapids needs a producer, fill-in host. I was gone a month later.
Did you have to kind of go in for an audition?
Yes, I had to go in. I had to do an interview. They, gave me a situation and of a new, you will do the news for the next half hour. Pretend that you're presenting a newscast, which was kind of fun. Obviously, they wanted my voice on tape, but I didn't have any of the fear of failures at that point. At this point, I'm 41 years old,
right.
And I knew I wanted this craft. And I felt good, and so
Why didn't you have any fear? Did you have because you had a backup plan?
No backup plan, because
Okay.
I knew that this is really, really what I wanted.
Well, a lot of people deal with fear. You
know
understand that. But I don't. That idea when you said you have the fear of failure, I'm like, really?
I really didn't, because it was not that you don't work. Obviously you're turning a little bit before your quote audition.
Right.
But what I'm learning is the fear of failure is just going to get in the way. So let's put on the positive attitude, and this is what I want. Why would I be so afraid to take that step if this is really what I want? And so you bundle that worried energy into maybe that challenge of
But don't you think, though, dear, it's like people they get all excited,
Yes.
And they go in and they're like, I nailed it. And they don't get chosen.
And they don't get chosen. But that goes back to the theater world and the other world where maybe you're just not the right fit. Even WJR, I wanted to stay there. Well, I'm not sure you have a broadcast voice and there's just no room here.
How did you handle that?
Well, that was probably when I went right back to Specs Howard and said, the door has closed here and I need to move on.
Okay.
No hard feelings, but if that's where we are, then I need to find someone to open that door for me, and obviously, I think I found it.
Right. You've
Yes,
done
I did. 17 years.
I know.
Yeah.
So you have the radio show. Was it the whole thing, or was
No,
it just
it came on as I would be the producer. The news director at that time was also news directing, and that show's been around probably 5 years even before I was there.
Right.
And I think he was kind of the interim morning show host in addition to his news director. He's since moved on. So my job was to be that producer, in other words, basically assist with guest finding, which I had done at JR, and also to fill in when he was away.
Okay.
Half a step back, I started the first week of December.
Okay.
They needed me to fill in for the news anchor, this is radio, Christmas week, which was awesome. Now, it was my first Christmas ever by myself.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Right.
Because I was on the radio for 3 hours, just me, in this little booth, living my dream.
Oh my gosh.
So my job was to produce for the morning show, which was, at that time, 2 hours, 4 interviews. It's kind of blown up since then. And then I had that first opportunity, the second or third week of March, to host, to take that week. Shelley, it's your week. You plug in your own guests, you do your thing. And that was that
must have been the bomb.
I did, there were a couple mistakes. Never leave your microphone on. If there's a problem, thank goodness I don't swear.
But that's so different today, though, that you just had the microphone to deal with. my husband in the financial world, he doesn't like me to do anything live stream, only because he's in the financial world, and they just don't want anything because they have all of this, world they have. Now, do you see it now that you see streaming people with their? You're on. Where you don't know if you're on, but you're on.
That's
what I tell them. I'm like, you better smile, and you better, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, what goes on Facebook stays on Facebook.
Yeah,
so
really.
you have to remember that. And I would say in a 2-hour window that I present, we're still talking radio.
Right.
80% is live. So you can't really control what your guests are going to say. But you're right, the Facebook Live, and I find myself doing Facebook Live a lot because
I see you on there.
Where's my camera? Let's do it now. Just joking. I don't want to break your rules.
But it's so changed now. We're always on.
Yeah.
But now with
and you
radio,
have to be careful about that out in public too.
Yeah. So let's talk about now that what do you wish you knew before you got into all of this that somebody would have shared with you? Like you're watching me try to develop the show, Breathing the Grand Show, and get my, on public, get as much access as I can, especially on the social media platforms. That's basically where you want to put a lot of your content because that's where your audience is. And you probably see that changing, right? Of moving your show and the podcast and all that kind of. Voice is going to be huge.
It really is, yes.
It is going to be. I was telling Charlotte she needs to get on a podcast. With her show, she's on Radio for Diva, that show.
Yes.
I go, you need to move that on to podcast right after you're done, right?
I agree.
And you see those changes in it. What do you wish somebody would have, you had that car ride over to here, to the west side, right? From the east side. What would you wish they would have told you about us over here, or what you wish you would have known, or what? Some advice to succeed over here?
Well, that was one of the first, and I won't call her out, but one of my colleagues over in Detroit said, "Why are you going there?" And I'm like, well, I've got this pretty cool opportunity because I did move here, let's just say blindly. No family. No.
You didn't know anybody here?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also did that in Savannah, with my former career too. So that's I'm just a little birdie that flies around. I
that's pretty
had a
great.
couple dogs.
Yeah.
So I guess the advice is get involved in activities that mean such to you. And I followed that. And I would follow that because one of the first things I did was run the 25K 3 months later down in May. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the Old Kent run?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
So you've always been kind of a runner, or you just got into it just to start networking?
I ran a marathon in '96. So
Okay.
and I was an athlete in high school.
Oh,
and
wow.
I ran my first, now we'll never get off the topic of running. Of course,
Let's not talk about golf, right?
with our personalities, we're going to go here and here, and I don't want to.
Yeah, keep us on task.
Yeah,
will you,
and I don't want to direct the interview. So let me just go back to that advice. So I think I was led to get involved in something, but I was mature enough to know that I wasn't going to, work was very important to me, still is. It is half my life, 3/4, maybe 7/8. But I do know that I need that secondary love to find.
Oh, sure. And what did you, when you pulled in, right? What was your thought? Because it certainly has changed.
It has, and I can't give you too many negatives. I mean, I started in an apartment,
Okay.
with 2 dogs,
Right.
and so just meandering in the Wyoming area, but I really did put most of my time into my work.
Okay.
Now, one of my first interviews, I got to meet one of my mentors, Dr. Jacqueline Taylor.
Okay.
Who is she's an Athena Award winner. She's receiving the Rotary award very soon. So she kind of took me under her arm and said, "You need to be involved in the Athena Committee. You need to be involved in the Salvation Army needs." So she started to introduce me to key players, and that helped.
Were you always part of missions of nonprofits? Because you are now.
This is a new life. I never. How do I say this? In my life in Georgia, North Carolina, and Rochester, Michigan, I belong to zilch. Yes. Now, 2 of the, because I was changing careers. Even in my physical therapy life, I wasn't active. So it's interesting. Again, I had a relationship down south.
Yes.
So that took precedence.
Yeah.
And now my relationship is my work.
Well, and there's not a lack of nonprofits in, I would say, West Michigan.
Yeah, right.
We are. But I meant, what? I know that you have a heart for pets. Let's talk about the nonprofit world, because I am
Okay.
from the nonprofit world. You might remember you were the MC at the Meals on Wheels.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, and area agency. That's
Yes.
how I know you from the Aging Network, and you
Yes.
and your mother was
Actually,
dealing with
father,
that.
Yeah, mom was dealing with dad, who had, and
Dad-
that was my first. I've been very blessed with health surrounding me, with the exception of my dad did have a moderate stroke back in 2016.
Okay.
Life is the new normal, but mom is a caregiver that does not ask for help. So that had just happened, and that was
You did
that was tough.
fabulous
Yeah,
on
that
the
was-
area
that was-
agency. You just
thanks.
you were right on it.
Yeah.
Most of
I
us
had
we
to
were
use notes.
laughing.
Yeah,
you did
yeah,
lose notes, but you
yeah.
did understand
Yeah.
the aging. How much being at so many MCs that I see you at? How much research do you actually do to be successful at those? Because you make it look so easy up there.
You. There is a script.
Okay.
So it's rare that you would get up and just go off the cuff. So there is a script that I certainly read several times, and if there's a word that I've never used that the writer has, I will not use it. I will.
You do? That's good,
I
because
will
I feel the
change
same
it.
way.
If they use a word that I've never, or a line, or
What about a name?
I always make sure that the names are pronounced correctly.
Okay.
But
Well,
I
I
wouldn't-
understand that, but when you're writing, do you go through each? You probably do too. Go through every name, make sure you're saying it
course.
right,
Yep.
correctly.
Yep.
But
And
I did see you at the cart. I love this about you, Shelley. I saw you at the Kent
Oh,
Parks.
did you hear? That was the first time I kind of made a mistake.
It wasn't that. You left your notes on
I
the
did.
table, and I laughed. I'm thinking, I felt for you, and I'm thinking, she's going to handle
No.
this like a pro. And you
So
did.
the bottom line, the note was on the was actually on the podium, and
Okay.
it was something that was. And I'm not going to. Last thing I would do is explain, but it was handed to me at the last minute.
Right.
And usually you're so excited that so I didn't have it in my, but it ended up being on the podium anyway.
I know. You
But
handled it well.
But I handled it. But I had to go, where is this? Because it was a list of all of the politicians.
Politicians
and,
just stand up.
And poor Stan comes up with his little, so we're reading it, and he's a perfectionist, and all is all. Bottom line, it did make me human, and it also
Made me
we handled
smile.
we handled
Well, and it
right.
wasn't in a negative way. I'm thinking,
No.
I'm glad I love watching people of yourself that have done us where something doesn't work out. Like
Yes.
like I just went to some place where, I'm trying to think, Dan Hitma, Land and Company.
yeah.
His PowerPoint didn't work when he first started. Let's talk about
That's
the River
tough.
Initiative, right?
Oh.
And so you wanted pictures, right? And it didn't work, but it came on later. But he handled it well. I mean, you get that.
And I've not truly witnessed this, but say you're on the stage of the Marriott with 800 people out there,
Really?
and say there's a video that's supposed to run, and now we're here to see a video. Now, it truly always
there.
has. I've seen other MCs where it hasn't worked, and
Uh-huh.
they have to dance, but I'm lucky to. But you always have to think, because one of the responsibilities, as you know, is you're in charge. I mean, you have a lot of and I don't take it lightly. An MC has a lot of responsibility for that event.
And handling the
It's like
good and the
what-
bad, right?
What time do you want to be out of here? I want to be out by 1:30. I will get you out by 1:30.
Exactly.
You want to entertain. It can't be about the host, and you want your other people to shine. And so that's why sometimes I'll do my, I'm known for taking a picture of the audience right away.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool.
Do you enjoy that? Do you
Yes.
enjoy the MC?
As soon as I see that email, looking to see if you're available, I drop everything. Say,
Really?
please God, yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm not getting big checks or anything like that. It's my stage.
It is your stage. And you do, does that surprise you the most? Is that your heart for the nonprofits now?
Yeah.
That you direct your attention
Yes.
a lot to that? Because I
Yes.
see you out there in a lot of causes.
Yeah.
And we're always happy to say when I'm at an event, I'll look at the program and I go, oh, Shelley
Okay.
Shelley Irwin's going to be the MC over that. When I was at Kent Parks, I'm like, she is. So
Yeah.
I'll be able to connect with you. But that is one thing about West Michigan. If something's wrong, there's somebody that's willing to start a nonprofit to try to fix it. Don't you think?
I really
You
do
know what I
think
mean?
so. Yeah, I do think, yes, there is an issue of not wanting to reinvent the wheel. If there already is, there are several that do have the same causes.
Do you struggle with just deciding on which nonprofits you want to support? Because once you get into it, it's never ending.
Right.
Everybody's got a good cause.
I don't think I struggle. There are certainly some that are not in my wheelhouse at all that actually I've never been, asked to do. But like I just re-upped with the Girl Scouts again. I was on their board for about 6 or 7 years, left just because it was time, and looks like they want me back. And so I did some soul searching, and I mean, bottom line, some dates have to match. I mean, if your meetings are the second Tuesday of every month, I can't make it. Because or the third Tuesday, because that's Kent County Parks. University Club of Grand Rapids meets the fourth Tuesday.
Right.
So I can't. I had to be a little careful with just the mechanics of meetings, besides for their work.
Let's talk about how your fame that's come out of here. You are very popular. You are well known.
I was recognized at the deli counter getting coleslaw. Might have had my jammy bottoms on.
How do you feel? How does it react when people just start to get really kind of intimidated, a little scary around you? It's like, because I met you and you walked and I didn't. Everybody's Shelley Irwin, and I'm like, and you walked in. I'm like, that's Shelley Irwin. You know what I mean? But what's your reaction to the fame you've gotten on West Michigan?
First of all, thank you. You don't take that. I don't take it for granted. Again, I was a physical therapist for 15, almost 20 years. So I would look at others with, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just saw such and such. So not that I don't, I recognize that I've done well, but I still have a bit of a normalcy as far as, what? They think I'm popular, they're intimidated by me,
I love that you're always willing to take a picture with me.
Yeah.
You know how I'm like, I want to take a picture.
Okay. So because I didn't start this at 21, and maybe, could you get jaded and big heads and all that? I don't know.
Yeah, that could be.
Maybe I realize, oh my gosh, this is kind of cool. And sometimes I have to sit back and say, you're doing well. But again, you do have to be careful that if you are recognized, I can't, dance on bar stools anymore.
That's right. When you're talking, you say you do, like this morning, you had like 8 guests.
Yes.
Right? What do you look for when you're looking for guests to be on your show? Because 8 is a lot to interview in one morning.
It is. Now, I had a couple of tapes.
Okay.
So let's just say between 9 and 11 in the morning, probably 80% of that show is live. And there's probably an author that I've interviewed that perhaps I need to fill in. Let's just say, and it happened this morning, my last guest was done at 10:52. And I'm not...
But you have all week, too. Every day you do
every
8 to 11, right?
And I tape before 9 and after. Yes, so it's a little
do they transition onto your radio? Or you have your radio show, too, like I did the radio?
Well, this is all radio.
Radio? I thought I saw you on television, too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, okay. I do. I have 4 TV opportunities, too, which is totally separate.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
The radio is its own entity.
So what's every 15 minutes? You have something
every
new?
10 to 12.
Remember when you interviewed me?
Yes.
She told me to say my last words, and I went into a story, and you just looked at me like, God, I hope you're not going to say more than that. You got 30 seconds, right?
Answering my emails. Don't bring the next guest. I try. You asked the question, how do I choose?
Yes. What kind of guests are you looking for?
Well, our mission is to inform, entertain, and inspire. So, you've got to entertain. But I may not know you from Adam. Are you a good talker? I have yes, you are. I have about 20 regular interviews.
Okay.
So I may talk to someone from Kent County Health Department. I may talk to someone from the YMCA every month. Someone who talks about nutrition, someone who talks about Social Security. So I have a women OB-GYN, an eye doctor. So I have maybe every day somebody regular that I can depend on, but I also depend on them to send me questions and topics and all that.
Okay.
So, but you know what? I am, as you may be or will be, inundated by, can I be on your show?
Yeah, I get that.
So,
well, what do you,
I won't do a bake sale or, or car wash, probably, unless it's part of an event that is, even today I did a nonprofit that has the big step walk coming up. I mean, it's, so it's and because the interviews are shorter and I move them right along, I can give people time and space.
Time and space. And then they go on to your show. Okay, let's go through my process. You take that radio show, it's on a podcast?
Yes,
Is it on the platforms
in the
of
afternoon.
all the social media platforms?
Yes.
Do you upload it on LinkedIn? How's that all work?
I have, and you're a much better LinkedIn, and then I'm still, I guess, a work in progress. I do have, I'll call her a producer. She's young, so we call her assistant producer, but she does what is asked of her. So
Okay.
every day she will present on the WGVU Morning Show Facebook page who's coming on. She will then grab the interview from the day before and then repost that.
Okay.
You know, hey, we just were visiting the circus, and look who just came on, you know, the ringmaster. So everybody's interview will be posted on Facebook. I have the production manager of the station himself will post every interview, perhaps not all the authors. He's probably getting sick of, you know, what, 8 interviews? We were doing well with 6. Oh, well.
Okay.
So that's and that will be on the WGVU website. We also have a WGVU app, and I'm able to, all those are loaded up there, so I may reshare that. I'm not as active on Instagram nor LinkedIn with the audio. Every guest will get his or her picture.
Okay.
So I'll just
I
post your
remember.
you post a picture.
Exactly.
I'm not as clever as
Exactly.
you. So that's in
And where
motion.
does it go from? Okay, you've been in the broadcast since 2001, right?
Yeah.
And you're seeing a lot of changes really
Yes.
fast on that. How is your morning show, or how is that keeping up with the newest changes on WGVU? How are they preparing for the future, which is going to be, I think, voice and
Yeah.
people getting their information off of different platforms now and keeping up on all that? Because I see them as an opportunity. For people that you have a great studio, but like somebody that doesn't know a lot about this and just getting out there. I mean, they're now attention grabbers if they could do, because you'd be surprised how many people do very well on doing that. But for
Yes.
yourself,
Yeah.
how are you looking at the future, saying, okay, we need to start putting these things in place because
Right.
this is where our viewers, audience attention
Yes.
is going.
I have, thanks to producer Nate, we are out, and there is now a Shelley's blog.
Oh, there you
So
go.
we featured Fountain Street Church and Grand Rapids Public Museum. So we're trying to do this once a week as much as possible, but a series format where let's find 10 places to visit. Let's find 10 events to post. Let's find 10 community members. So we're going to make this. So that's been the latest and that's YouTube only.
Oh, yeah.
So you won't see that on the TV. You won't see that in podcast or audible form, but this is
Got to be our subscribers.
Strictly subscriber.
Right.
for
And how is that
Shelley's
being
YouTube.
promoted? Is that like on the campuses? How are you getting that
it's,
message out?
Right now we're working on that. Right now
Okay.
it's mostly Shelley.
Shelley,
Yeah,
okay.
so-
So doing shows like this, talking
This-
about it,
yes.
you can give us that information. We can
Yes,
give
that
that
would
up
be
to
good. That's the latest.
Because that's the key. A lot of these platforms are free to put on, but it's
Yes.
to get the ads and getting into get them to send it to the people that are actually
Yes.
looking, like maybe past viewers.
Right.
Maybe past students of
Yes.
Grand Valley. I'm like, oh my God, I remember. You know what I'm saying? You want, and
Plus
Facebook
those-
does a good job
And
of that.
plus those who are being interviewed. You trust that they will share
Right.
the good
How do you
work that's
encourage
being-
that? Because that's big, I think.
Well, there's nothing like asking.
Right.
It would be great to share this. Obviously, I would tag that person, so that would fall into there, and you'd hope that that would be shared. But a lot of it comes down to relationships and hoping that works out.
Yeah, it's all changing, isn't it? It's going
It
rather
is.
fast, and